Greetings, folks. Welcome back to A City Full of History. My name is Dan Thurber. I am your mild-mannered, mural-minding madman, and today I am coming to you from the Metropolitan Museum of Art. There's a lot of M's in that statement. The reason I'm here is because I absolutely adore this place. There are so many fantastic works of art. There are so many great stories. There's so much history contained within these walls. I could talk about it from now until the rapture, and I still wouldn't cover it all. Which is why it's good that today I'm not talking about a single thing inside the building. Today, I'm talking about the building itself, specifically exactly what's behind me there. The Great Hall, designed by renowned architect Richard Morris Hunt in 1894. It is a polished work of Beaux-Arts architecture. It is a masterpiece in and of itself. The feeling you get as you climb up those steps and walk through that main entrance and stand in that Great Hall is unsurpassed. It is a work of art housing works of art. It is beautiful. But if you take a really close look, certain questions, curiosities might pop into your mind, might come to light. Specifically, what's up with all these blocks?
We're getting out of the library and onto the street. It really is a city full of history. You just have to go out and find it. One of New York's most photographed scenes, the facade of the main entrance to the Metropolitan Museum of Art is a masterpiece. Designed in 1894 and opened to the public officially in 1902, the facade was the third section to be built at the Central Park site, and was a shift in architectural style for the museum away from the red brick and colored masonry that had preceded it. As Met Museum archivist and curator Albert Ten Eyck Gardner wrote, Richard Morris Hunt was the Dean of American Architects, and in 1894 was still in the blush of his successes at the World's Columbian Exposition in Chicago the year before, specifically his design of the Administration Building. Beaux-Arts architecture, echoing the height of the Romans, was then all the rage, and Hunt, a trustee for the museum, was able to secure himself as designer for a new expansion and master plan, one which would completely surround and overshadow the Gothic Revival brick structures that had come before it. The first piece of this plan was the Great Hall, which would become the main entrance on Fifth Avenue.
Hunt's original design called for the facade of the building to be absolutely decked out with sculptures and relief carvings echoing the great works of art throughout history. He designed 4 pairs of columns, each pair supporting and housing works of art that represented what he viewed as the 4 great periods of art throughout history. As Hunt himself wrote,
"In order to express the character of the building, I would suggest that the 4 large groups over the columns should represent the 4 great periods of art, using the Egyptian for ancient art, the second group Greek for classic art, the third group Renaissance, and the fourth group modern art. In each niche directly under the principal group, I should like to see a reproduction of the best examples of art expressed in the group above. The stone for the groups is already in the rough on the building."
so what happened? Hunt had a plan, clearly, and the stone was already on top of the building. So why did this never make it past the design phase? Well, the short answer is they just really ran out of money.
At the same time the staggering estimates for all these sculptures were being made, the building's interior was still unfinished. The building committee, with their funds running low, were much more focused on getting the building completed and usable than they were with the embellishments.
So that tells us why they were never carved. But why are the blocks still there? Well, Gardner writes that it was architect Thomas Hastings that suggested they leave the blocks in place, saying that to remove them would have unbalanced the design of the front of the building. And he was probably right. Today the blocks are still in place, remaining as one of the museum's more curious design features. Welcome to the End Slate, folks. My favorite segment, Tidbits and Trivia. Now today I've got a doozy for you. I'd like to introduce you to a very dear personal friend of mine. This here is Richard Morris Hunt himself. Now this monument is a little further south on Park Avenue. We're actually just across from the Frick at 70th Street. But it was designed by Daniel Chester French, same guy that did the Lincoln Memorial, among many other noted works of sculpture in the latter part of the 19th century. But the really cool thing about this is that while this is Richard Morris Hunt, he's flanked by two lovely caryatids. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. One of them represents art. The one to my left, however, is far more interesting for our purposes today. She represents architecture, and you can tell she represents architecture because she's holding onto a little model of a building. And you can see that right there. Now the really cool thing, if that building looks a little bit familiar, my eagle-eyed viewers, it's because you may remember it from a little earlier in the video. See, in 1894, when Hunt designed the Met, he was famous for his design of the administration building at the World's Columbian Exposition in 1893, just the year before. And if you take a close look at this building that she's holding, you will see it is a miniature of that very building. Well, that's all I've got for you today, folks. I do hope you enjoyed it. If you did, be sure to leave a shout in the comments down below and let me know. This may not be the last we hear from the Met on this channel. Be sure to hit that subscribe button on your way out the door, and as always, head over to Bookworm History where you can stay up to date on all of our latest content, videos, podcasts, articles, all of that jazz. I do hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks for stopping by.